Hello Algebra 1A students. These are the video notes on Objective 3.3, literal equations. You need to be copying down what I have written here and bring that in tomorrow so I can see that you have done it. You do not get full credit unless you copy down everything and try every problem. So we are going to start with a little bit of a warm-up. I would like you to solve this equation for x. Take a second to pause the video and solve that equation for x on your own. Okay, so we are going to work on this together. We solve two-step equations by using SADMET, which means that we undo any addition, subtraction before we undo multiplication, division, before we undo exponents, and then parentheses. So here we're going to undo adding 3 first, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides of my equation. That gives me 2x equals 6. And then I want to undo this multiplying by 2. So instead of multiplying by 2, I'm going to divide by 2, and that's going to give me x equals 3. Okay? So that's basic two-step equation. We are going to try a different problem, except instead of having numbers, we're just going to have letters. So we're going to solve px plus y equals z using the same process. Again, we're going to use SADMET. Okay? So I want to, these two are multiplying. I want to undo adding y first. So how do I undo adding y? Well, how did I undo adding 3? I subtracted 3. So here, how do I undo adding y? I subtract y from both sides of my equation. That leaves me with, well, these two cancel out because plus y minus y gives me nothing. And I'm just left with p times x. Z minus y, I don't know what z is and I don't know what y is, and they're not like terms, so I'm just going to have to write z minus y. Okay, and it's okay to leave it in that form because this is a literal equation. Then I have to get rid of this p. Well, p and x are multiplying, so how do I undo multiplying by p? I divide both sides by p. P divided by p just leaves me with x, okay? Z minus y divided by p, I don't know what that is, so I'm just going to have to leave that as z minus y divided by p. Okay? When I solve a literal equation, let me write that over here so you can see a little better. When I solve a literal equation, notice that my answer is still a literal equation. It's still a bunch of letters. It's not numbers. So let's talk about what a literal equation is. A literal equation is an equation involving variables instead of numbers. So this is a regular equation. This is a literal equation because it has numbers instead of, it has variables instead of numbers. Okay? So for example, mx minus n equals k is a literal equation because it has letters. A equals 1/2 b times h is a literal equation because it has letters. Notice it can still have some numbers on there, but it has more than one letter here, right? It's got 3. Over here, I have one letter, but the rest are numbers, so that makes it a regular equation. Here again, I have one letter, but the rest are numbers, so that makes it a regular equation, okay? So literal equations are those with letters. Regular equations are those with numbers involved and only one variable, okay? So we're going to be talking about how to solve literal equations using the ideas that we did in solving regular equations, okay? So what does it mean to solve a literal equation? Solving a literal equation means to isolate a specific variable. So in this case over here, we solved for x. We were isolating x. We really could have solved for any of these letters, but the one we wanted was x. So solving a literal equation means to isolate a specific variable. Whenever I give you a solve this literal equation, I will always tell you which variable to solve for. Otherwise, you can't do the problem, okay? I will tell you exactly which one to solve for. So we're going to do a couple of examples. The first one is solve 3y minus 2x equals 7 for y. So again, I'm going to be isolating a specific variable. This time it's y. Well, where is y in the problem? It's here. So we're going to be solving for this variable. We're going to use the same idea as we did solving equations. We're going to use SADMET, and we're going to undo any addition, subtraction before we undo multiplication, division, before we do exponents, before we do parentheses. So in this case, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. But again, what we care about is the variable that we're looking at. So here, 3 is multiplying by y. Okay, so we know that's going to come in the multiplication step. Here, 2 and x are multiplying, but we don't care about what's happening between x. We care about what's happening between y and 2x. So between y and 2x, excuse me, between y and 2x, it's subtracting. Okay, so that's going to come in this step. Okay, so again, even though these are multiplying, it's subtracting from the variable that we care about, and so we're going to start with that first. So how do I undo subtracting 2x? Well, if I subtracted 2x, how would I undo that? I would add 2x to both sides. Again, I'm just doing those inverse operations that we talked about. Okay, well, minus 2x plus 2x, those cancel, right? Those go to 0, and I'm just left with 3y, or 3 times y. 7 and 2x, those are not like terms, and so I can't combine them. So that's just going to have to be 7 plus 2x. Okay? Again, I can't really simplify that. All right, no more addition subtraction to do, but I do have some multiplication division. I am multiplying 3 by y. How do I undo multiplying by 3? I divide by 3. Okay? 3 divided by 3 gives me 1, so I'm just left with y. And then 7 plus 2x over 3, you know, I could simplify that to 7 over 3 plus 2 over x over 3, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to leave it as 7 plus 2x over 3. Now, I know I'm done because y is by itself. Y is isolated on the left side of my equation. And that's exactly what I was looking for y. Okay? All right, we're going to do 2 more examples. The next one is solve 3m minus 2n for n. So we're looking for this big N. That big N is right here. I'm going to have to switch pen because this one's that. Okay. So I am solving for n, which means that I'm going to get rid of this 3m and this 2. Actually, there's a problem here. I don't have an equal. This is not an equation. Whoa, Miss Lund, going too fast. Let's do this out of, that equals 2. Okay, never mind. 3n minus 2n equals 2. We're solving that for n. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 3m and the 2n. The 2 is multiplying the n, and the 3n is subtracting. Okay, so that means I'm going to undo this 3m first. How do I undo 3m? I subtract 3m. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. Okay, these will cancel and leave me with just negative 2n. Can't drop that negative. And then 2 and 3m are not like terms, so I just have to write 2 minus 3m. Okay, once I have done that, I need to undo this negative 2. How do I undo multiplying by negative 2? I divide by negative 2. Okay, these will cancel, leaving me just with n. And then I can leave this as 2 minus 3m over negative 2. Okay? Am I done? Yes, because n is by itself. All right, let's take a look at this last example. It says solve 3x plus 5y equals 15 for y. So again, I'm solving for y. And this time, I have 5, which is multiplying the y, and 3x, which is adding. So we're going to undo the adding first. How do I undo 3x? I subtract 3x from both sides of my equation. Let's get my x. This cancels because 3 minus 3x gives me 0. I still have 5y. 15 minus 3x, those aren't like terms, so I still have to write that as 15 minus 3x. Okay? Then I want to get rid of that 5. That's multiplication, so how do I undo multiplying by 5? I divide both sides by 5. And these cancel, and I'm left with y equals 15 minus 3x over 5. Okay. Am I done? Yes, because y is by itself on the left side of my equation. So what I would like you to do is make sure that you put this in a safe place to bring it to class, maybe your homework folder or your math binder, and bring any questions that you have with you. If you have questions and you don't want to forget them, maybe you want to write them down here and make sure that you ask them tomorrow when you bring this in. Thank you for watching.